Very brief, kind of how would Common Core standards be any different from the standards we've had in the past? Most of you are probably somewhat familiar with these ideas, but in a very brief and probably overgeneralized way, for those that aren't familiar with the new standards at all, we'll kind of talk a little bit about that. I'm always remiss to do a math talk without it bringing in any math. This is my training. So I've got a couple of questions, and the intention of these will be specifically to demonstrate how the changes might look with regards to a particular aspect. In this case, the example coming from an Algebra 1 context. And then finally, just kind of to talk a little bit about how we here at Sage, as the math department here at Sage, are dealing with the change and the transition in terms of what we're doing with our content, what resources are new and different for us, and how we're trying to be transparent with parents. So those are the three key things. The first, actually flip back to that one for me if you would mind. The first is just a little bit about what's different about the Common Core. One phrase that I've heard that I like is, the idea is trying to engage process pattern reasoning, not result pattern reasoning. You might hear this rephrased as, I want to see how kids are doing it instead of just getting answers. Answer getting is important. Ask any math teacher will all tell you that's a critical aspect of mathematics. But at the same time, we are doing this in the past at the risk of losing students' strategies, their ideas about mathematics. And when you don't promote those things, they become very adept at symbol manipulating and things like that. And they don't carry concepts with them when they go off to college and the upper level mathematics that they're going to see at university level. The main difference, and this is probably too small for you to see, but you can find this in any Google mathematical practices for Common Core. And just to read a few of them: reason abstractly and quantitatively, make sense of problems and persevere in solving them, look for and make use of structure, model with mathematics. These are what we call the mathematical practice standards. There are 8 key mathematical practice standards separated into particular clusters. But the idea of these is it's the first time that standards have been written that are not strictly content-based, like solve these types of equations or apply these types of formulas. They are actually addressing things that are strategies, behaviors, habits of mind that we are required by state standards to make our kids do in the classroom. This is the main difference between the new standards and the old standards. If you look at the content standards, they're really fairly aligned in general, especially in California. So careful not to go too far here, but the first click. A classic CST question, and think about this for a moment. You don't have to bust out your pencils or anything like that. Just think about the intention of what the question writer would be asking here. 120-foot long rope is cut into 3 pieces. First piece twice as long as the second piece. Third piece of rope is 3 times as long as the second piece. What is the length of the longest piece of rope? So the standard here, the content strand, is about modeling a contextual situation with an algebraic equation, an algebraic model. So anyone kind of know how this would get done? Want to share? I don't want to put anyone on the spot, but so generalized, what we're talking about here is, you want to go ahead?
You have to count the number of effective pieces that are going to be cut out of that 120-foot rope.
Yeah.
So if you have one that's 1 piece, then you have one that's effectively 2 pieces because it's twice as long as the first piece. And then the third piece is 3 times as long as the second piece. You have to multiply it, so you multiply it and then divide it, and that's how you get the...
Clear. It's a very nice strategical reasoning process that we're getting here. So we're very Common Core already. But no, yeah, and so the idea is to split it into the base piece, which we would call x in an algebraic model, or use some variable, 2x, 3x. They have to sum them together and have it equal to 120. Now, does anyone see how we might work around what we're actually trying to figure out if the student knows how to do here? Well, the key is when most students look at a problem like this, they just start using numbers. And it's actually not that hard to figure it out. Most kids would start with something like 10. Double it, that's 20. Triple it, that's 30. Add them up, do I get 120? Okay, that didn't work. Let me try 20. And lo and behold, bingo, there you have it. We've completely circumvented the process. And so this is the kind of question we were trying to avoid. Now, it's not that that strategy is bad. It's totally great. The problem is that that wasn't the intention of algebraic modeling. And so what we've got to do is write questions that actually force kids to use algebraic modeling instead of just saying, no, don't do it the easy way, do it the hard way, right? This is what we wanted to avoid. So you have questions like this, and now we throw that in there, and there's your guess and check. You've only got 4 guesses to choose from anyway, right? So we've made it even easier. So taking a look at the next piece, this piece is from an Illuminate test bank. The Illuminate test bank is smarter balance assessment items that we have in the Carlsbad Unified School District written by the same people that write the actual test. So a similar standard here, we get something like this. Bobby has a sister named Abby. His sister is 4 years older than 1/3 of Bobby's age. Enter an equation that can be used to find Bobby's age. It's not all that difficult. It's 1/3 of Bobby. Represent Bobby with your unknown. So 1/3 x. 4 years older than that equals Abby's age. Okay, so if you didn't follow me, that's okay. The point is, it can be represented algebraically, but note what they ask the students to do. It's not a guess and check any problem anymore. We're not actually even asking them specifically to find that age. We're simply asking them to create the model. And so this is a little bit of the difference of what you can expect. And then actually they're asking you to solve it in a different way than it's natural. If you actually build this equation as written, you would get something like A equals 1/3 x plus B. And they want you to solve it for B. So the student would then have to use the algebraic manipulation to get it solved for B without actually having to get a final solution, just rearrange the formula. So they're getting at the skill of manipulating the formula that way. You can see it's a little trickier though, right? So it becomes a little bit of an issue. And then this is from our current textbook. Similar standard, 1 day, 7 times the sum of the number running. Together they've traveled 28 hours. Find the number of hours each person traveled. Enter answer as a simplified mixed number. Again, slight difference here. Complete, solve the equation, and you'll notice in the end it says solve this as a mixed number. It's going to be a fractional value, which makes it very difficult to guess and check at a problem like this. So these are the subtle differences that we're seeing. Why did they do it? Global competitiveness. We're getting crushed by other powers in mathematics on the international studies. The research about students in our highest levels going off to college and having remediation at the college level, lack of understanding. SATs and ACTs are shifting. Publishers have spent a ton of money adopting, and even states that are pulling out are creating their own standards, but modeling them after this type of standard anyway. So all in all, I think they are probably going to stick around for a while. Why is it scary for you guys? Yeah, we're writing some bad questions when we're trying to go through this transition. Maybe you've seen the one that gone viral about 2 + 2 = 5 or something like that, right? And where do I find stuff to show my son, my daughter, how to do these problems? The textbooks look different. The problems are different. We're not seeing all the example problems. And so that's what we're trying to attack here. So we have a new text adoption for Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Geometry. Every student has an online link to this. If they're not up and running yet, they will be shortly. And I don't want to take too much time, but if you log on to this essentially, and your student can use their Google login information, you have access to the interactive textbook, which has step-by-step instructions, gives example problems, interactive homework, so that if there's a problem like the one that they're doing and they can't solve it, you can have a tutor video come up and show you how to do it. You can have the step-by-step process shown to you and then an alternative question given. So thing number one is that the publishers are being proactive about giving you guys a lot of resources as a response to the fact that that was the major complaint. The Illuminate questions, one that I showed you there are being sort of gradually implemented throughout. Actually, mostly not on tests yet, mostly in instruction to familiarize students with the type of question they're seeing. In the math department, gradual implementation with positive results. We're doing things slowly but surely, putting some of these problems on our tests, putting these problems into our curriculum, and we're not getting dramatic drop-offs and all our kids are getting C's, that we're getting A's and this kind of thing. Our data is strong to show that that's not happening. And then for you guys, I mean, stuff that would be there whether we were Common Core or not, but the Bobcat tutoring that's put on with help from PTSA is an amazing resource. This is a link that I can share with you, but I think we're too short on time, which you can get that through the math department page on the website, Monday through Thursday. Every day, there's one of our teachers is tutoring from 2:45 to 3:45. And that is just the link to my webpage. We all have lockers where we share daily notes, where we share homework solutions, problems that are being done in class. We're trying to make ourselves very transparent so that you guys can see what's going on in the classrooms on a regular basis. And that's really the plan of attack for you guys. So that's it.
Thank you.